really interesting thing a commentator pointed out to me uh, that I can't help but realizing right now. G&E said that 100 years since President Warren Harding became the first guy that females could vote for, he said that he had a daughter named Elizabeth. So, very interesting that the first president that women could vote for since the ratification of the 19th Amendment was President Warren, and he ended up giving birth to a daughter with a mistress named Elizabeth. This is going to be a tribute to Joe Biden and his sexual misconduct allegation in 1993. This is what has earned Joe Biden the nickname Creepy Joe. This is also a tribute to the sexual predator Donald Trump, who said, "Go grab him by the pussy," before the 2016 election, and he has had sexual misconduct allegations by at least 25 women since the 1800s. So Donald Trump is a serial sexual predator. Joe Biden's a creepy old man. And this is all a tribute to Warren Harding winning the 2020 election and dying in office a few years later. And he ended up giving birth to a daughter named Elizabeth Ann Blazing, which was the daughter of his mistress, Nan Britton. It's pretty interesting because Warren Harding was the 29th president of the United States. Warren is going to be president until 2029, until January of 2029. Elizabeth Warren is born in a 49 year as well. So Warren Harding was the first president elected after the passage of women's suffrage. Elizabeth Warren's going to be the first president. This is all part of the grand tribute. I like how both Elizabeth Warren and Elizabeth Blazing have the same middle names. Ann Blazing, Elizabeth Ann Warren, you see right there. And that is not by coincidence at all. They have the same middle names. Queen Elizabeth is elected president 100 years after women's suffrage, 100 years after the election of Warren Harding. Check out the paternal last name of Elizabeth Warren. It's Elizabeth Herring. Elizabeth Herring is very similar in rhythm to Elizabeth Harding. Harding and Herring are very similar last names. And so the creeper, the old man, giving birth to an aide, and then he has a daughter named Elizabeth. This is all a tribute to Creepy Joe and the sexual predator Donald Trump. It really is. It's no coincidence that Warren Harding fathered a child with a mistress named Elizabeth. It all points down to Creepy Joe and then Donald Trump and what he said to, Ivanka on CNN. His comments about his own daughter.
Educated business.
And then I will show you the whole clip later. The beginning of the DNC was on August the 17th. The amount of time to Elizabeth Blazing's birthday can be significant. So her birthday was in the year 19. And she ended up dying in 2005, around the time that Warren gained prominence in the national government of the United States. It's Elizabeth Blazing. What's the last name? Blazing. Elizabeth Ann Blazing as gematria of 77. That's the same gematria as Elizabeth Ann Warren, or actually Elizabeth Warren by itself. And it's Joe Biden that is 77 years of age right now. So that's why it's going to be Warren. Elizabeth Ann Britton Harding. So she had, Harding in there. Full last name of Elizabeth Blazing I can do as well. Elizabeth Ann Britton without itself. Elizabeth Ann Britton has gematria of 89. And now that's going to connect to the virus in a way, and I'm going to show you here in a second what all of this is truly all about. The amount of time from Warren's birthday to October the 22nd, Blazing's birthday, is a time span of 122 days. And Obama endorsed Warren's coronavirus plans, all three of them. And we need a leader to handle this pandemic. That's where you're getting the gematria of the virus. Now Not only is it 122 days from Warren's birthday to the Mistress's birthday, the amount of time from the Mistress's birthday, Elizabeth, daughter of Warren, to Electoral College Day, October the 14th, is a time span of 53 days and 1 month and 22 days. So that's the amount of time until Warren's election by the Electoral College. COVID as gematria 53, and once again, the 1 month and 22 days is going to connect to the virus. So we need a leader who can handle this. This all boils down to Obama's endorsement of Warren. The amount of time from the beginning of the Democratic National Convention to Blasing's birthday is time span of 66 days. It is woman that has gematria of 66 in the gematria calculator. The 66 Congress was when women's suffrage got passed. So pretty fitting tribute to that. The last day of the DNC to Blasing's birthday is a time span of 63 days. It is Senator Warren, and it is progressives who Biden needs to get. Progressive as gematria of 63. If you want to include the end day of 6 months and 4 days, it would be Warren versus Trump that has gematria of 64. So lots of significance with this. It's woman that begins with the 23rd letter. It's 2 months and 3 days from October the 20th to October the 22nd. So that is the significance of all of this underlying tributes here, with the daughter of Warren Harding being Elizabeth. It connects to two predators, Donald Trump and Joe Biden, and it connects to the first female president of this election, which is Elizabeth Ann Warren. That is all that has to be derived from the meaning of why truly Warren was the first president elected after women gained the right to vote. And you think this is a coincidence? Absolutely not. It is all intended to be. Now, I would just like to copy Elizabeth Ann Blasing by itself, or just know what the gematria of Blasing is all about. Elizabeth Ann Blasing has gematria of 87. Is this going to be a tribute to the first female president in the Democratic Party? I believe it is. Elizabeth Blasing by itself, 76, 157. Is this the gematria of bankruptcy law? Maybe bankruptcy lawyer. I mean, no doubt about it. It's just one of the top tributes that I talked about before. How about Mistress? You see, it's Mistress that has gematria of 122. Going back to Warren Harding giving birth to a mistress, it's no coincidence that that connects to the virus pandemic and the fact that it's 122 days from the birthday of the mistress to the day of the Electoral College selection. This is all going to be very significant in a big way with the historical 29th President of the United States, Warren Harding, and the presidency up until the year 2029 for Elizabeth Ann Warren, the first female president predicted in The Simpsons. Then Britain. She was born on November the 9th. So the mistress was born on the day that Donald Trump was announced the winner of the election. And guess what? It's Nan Britton that has gematria 46. The 46th president is going to be Democratic. Biden's death would occur during this time 91 years after the Great Depression, 1929. That's the gematria that we had all the way that already connects with Warren against Trump, and something is bound to happen. The Joe Biden, the gematria of the mistress has to do with the time durations that we have discussed already. It has to do with the 1 month, 22 days from the DNC to the day of the election. Nan has gematria of 29. That mistress, of the 29th president, Warren Harding. Britain gematria 9835 is the vice president of the United States, is the vice president of Elizabeth Warren going to be Bernie. And the fact that his first name is Bernard. I think it's Bernie Sanders has gematria of 98, or maybe Sanders by itself. Bernie was born on September the 8th, 9-8. That's going to be the significance to the other reference that I've had in the calculator before. And so this is what it's all about right here. Elizabeth Warren, the first female president, has to do with the election of Warren Harding 100 years later, died in office. Joe Biden is rumored to die in office, and his vice president would replace him. And so it's interesting parallels to that. And we see a real script happening right now. But it's all going to happen before the election, in my opinion. Elizabeth Warren, the first female president, 100 years after the passage of women's suffrage, the 19th Amendment, the first president elected that women were able to vote for. His name was Warren Harding, and he had a mistress, had a daughter named Elizabeth, right after he became president. So it shows you how scripted all this truly is.